How are we doing today, fellow tech enthusiasts? I am back with another video review, and this time it's one that I've been meaning to do for a little while now because I've had the product for over half a year, but I'm finally getting around to it. And that is my Sonos Playbar. I love this thing. So let's first get into, I guess, I'm not going to do an unboxing, obviously I've had it, but I'll show you a little bit of how it's packaged and then we'll get into the review. So I'm off camera, but welcome back to my slightly modified entertainment center. And I don't know if you remember last time I've done one of these videos if you were here, but I had a nice big receiver there with some speakers, and I had a surround sound unit and everything, and I decided, screw it, I'm getting rid of it. And I decided to go with this bad boy. The reason is that it actually seems like a really high quality product, which is obviously key. I definitely want high quality. But I did like the idea of having basically a triple channel soundbar with larger than usual speakers, so you get a little more bass out of the soundbar as well. But the nice thing is I'm giving up a surround sound speaker system, but going with the soundbar that has the capability of being set up with a surround sound speaker system. Wireless, that is, so I don't have the wires, the hassle basically to run again in my house here, so since I don't have them ran in my walls. But similar, in all reality, similar to Apple fashion, since I've done a lot of Apple reviews, I really like the package of this. And normally I don't do unboxings, and I'm not doing an unboxing here because there's the Playbar right there. But I just wanted to show you the box at least. So nice briefcase style. Obviously there's no subwoofer that comes with the soundbar. You can buy a subwoofer separate. It actually costs the same amount as a soundbar. But very simplistic, very small, but you can obviously see just from the soundbar, just having the soundbar in here, it's a fairly large unit. So if you can see over there, it is a little bit larger than some, but smaller than others. So it just lifts up after you open it up and comes into a nice, well-packaged soundbar. They give it plenty of padding all the way around the entire soundbar, so even if the box is dented in some way, there's a very low probability that it actually damaged the soundbar, unless it was obviously dropped, and then you're looking at a whole different situation anyway. It comes wrapped in a nice little felt-type fabric sock, which I did keep, because that way if I ever needed to obviously take it anywhere, at least I can put it in this guy. But I've already taken it into work with me, and I do actually work at a Best Buy in the home theater department, and I kind of showed it to my various people there because we don't have a Magnolia Center which has these. So also they have give a little box inside the box that houses the accessories. Sorry about the clock. Obviously it's going to give you the manuals, just quick startup things. This is their little brochure, the other products they're going to offer along with the Sonos system, which is a huge benefit to this system. Then they give you basically a quick setup guide, and it is very simple to set up, especially if you have a laptop, an iPad, some kind of Android tablet, doesn't matter, a phone, iPhone, Android, doesn't matter. All you have to do is download the Sonos app, and then that gets you started. And then they have more of an actual owner's manual with technical guidelines, things like that. I've never even looked at this guy yet because I've never had any problems. And then within here, this is where the cables are going to be housed. So the power cable that comes with it also comes with an optical audio cable and a local area network or Ethernet cable. Because in one way or another, if you start doing the Sonos setup, you have to have at least one component that is hardwired to the router. So either A, in my case, I actually have my soundbar hardwired because I already have all these components back here hardwired because I love hardwiring my things. Or B, they have the bridge, the Sonos bridge, which is a little box, plugs into your router, sits next to your router, and then creates the Sonos wireless signal to the any Sonos component within your house. So that would include the Playbar if you wanted to keep the Playbar as a more wireless option. Now you'll still have to have the optical audio cable going from the soundbar to the TV if you want to use it for the TV. Otherwise, it is a very nice speaker system as well. So, I guess I'll put those instructions back. But I will go through the instruction book here. Get this gigantic box out of the way. And so here we are. So obviously when it comes out, before you begin, this is going to tell you what you're going to need. what they say actually here in the book is prior to installation, make sure all external components are connected directly to your TV. And basically what this means is that your TV, obviously, they're going to use the optical audio port from the back of the TV to plug into the Sonos Playbar. In doing so, it's only going to be receiving audio from the TV. So every one of your components has to be plugged into the TV somehow to get the audio to the TV, so then the TV can actually output it to the Sonos Playbar. In doing so, obviously, it makes it very simplistic because you don't have to have a receiver that you have to switch between components. The TV is just going to output whatever sound you are watching at the time. The downfall to that is if you don't have a TV that has optical audio out, you are kind of in a gray zone in that you may have to kind of get a special adapter or get a way to get the audio from what you're watching to the Sonos Playbar. I fell into one of those categories. However, I found a way to work with it, and I will show you that shortly, and I'll show you why I still stuck with it even though I kind of knew it was going to happen. So, on the setup, it's basically take the optical audio cable from the back of the TV, plug it into the soundbar. Take the power from, obviously the power cable from the plug it into the back of the soundbar. And then you start the setup procedure. Obviously, because if you're going to use the Connect or the Sonos bridge, then you don't have to worry about the Ethernet cable. Otherwise, at this time, it would also be smart to plug in the Ethernet connection too, so it can actually connect to your Wi-Fi network so that you can actually see it when you're actually using the Sonos app in setup on one of your portable devices of some kind. You can also do this on a desktop as well, obviously, as long as it's an item that's on the network that you are currently using the Sonos system on. So, with that said, let's take a peek at the back of the Sonos, or actually at the Sonos Playbar itself. So this is the Sonos Playbar. Obviously, you kind of saw it from behind, but this is obviously looks like a very nice, well-fitted soundbar. It is covered in a nice soft fabric, which is covering all 9 of the various speakers that they have inside the soundbar. I've had it sitting here for, like I said, over half a year. I've only dusted it twice, which having the fabric that it has, I thought it was going to build up a lot more dust than it does. So I was actually very surprised in that. And I found it very, very easy to clean. Even with taking a rag and wiping it on the soundbar, you actually get almost all of the dust off, which is awesome because it's easy to clean, especially around a electronic powerhouse like this that gets a lot of dust. So you could also just take the brush end of a vacuum cleaner and just rub over it real quick and get it off, kind of pull it off the fabric. I've done that once, and that was it. So key things about the soundbar itself. Obviously, it has how I have it here. It can be set up like this. It also can be mounted vertically, so mounted on the wall, kind of like that. It can be mounted either way. With doing so, that on the side are the only buttons that the soundbar actually has. It has a volume up, down, and a mute button, and that is it. Obviously, the thing about most soundbars is that you control them with a remote, so you're rarely ever using these. I've never used them since the setup, because when you set up, you actually kind of play with these a little bit. On the front is an infrared port. Obviously, this is where it's actually receiving the infrared signals from your remote. The nice thing about it is if you were in a situation where you're placing this in front of your TV and it's covering up the infrared port on the back of your TV, you're in luck because it actually sends the signal back through the back of the unit as well. It also does the same thing from the front, so if you were vertically mounting it, there's the receiver right there as well. But it does transmit the infrared signal if you so desire. You can turn that on and off in the settings. On the back of the soundbar, or the playbar, whichever you want to call it, is the setups, or the settings, or the connections, as you were. Obviously power is a must. The optical audio cable from the TV, obviously that's the only way that it's going to get connected to the TV, and this is the optical cable that comes with it. I actually used the actual cables that came with it. And then they did give you a nice flat local Ethernet cable to plug in. The nice thing about this is they do give you a second port, so if you already had one component here that was hardwired, you can put this in its place, plug from your router to the soundbar, and then plug from the soundbar to your other component, and so kind of share the single connection that you would have coming in. Mainly because this isn't going to eat up a whole bunch of data anyway, so it's not going to slow everything else down. And I had used that when I had another component here that needed another connection, but I have enough for most of my stuff. So, but that's the simplistic end of the back side of the soundbar. No auxiliary input or anything like that. If you were mounting this on the wall, there is a mounting kit available, and I believe that's what these little pieces right here are for. The mounting kit actually mounts to the soundbar, or allows the soundbar to mount to it very easily and simplistically. I'm sure I haven't actually seen it myself, but definitely seems like everything else that they do works very well. So it does have some heft to it. It's not light by any means. It's it's heavier than probably most soundbars out there, but that just kind of gives its well-built nature. And I'll kind of go into, I guess, my setup here next. So like I said, your TV does have to have the ability to output audio via optical audio. That's the downside to mine, because my TV, which was actually from 2005 when I got this guy, and I still love the TV. It's up for replacement fairly soon. But back then, when HDMI was kind of first becoming a big item into TVs, I guess it wasn't customary to connect the optical audio output to the HDMI input. So while my TV does output optical audio, it does not output the audio coming from the HDMI feed. So my Apple TV, for instance, that's currently hooked up to my TV, sends its audio up the HDMI cable to the TV, but the TV doesn't output that audio via the optical. All new TVs are going to do that. So if your TV has an optical audio cable, you have a newer TV, you're fine. However, those of us that still have some kind of relics from the early days of HD, and this is a 1080i, the year prior to 1080p, we're in the situation where we may have a situation that we may have to play with it a little bit. Now, benefit to me, I do almost all of my TV viewing through that little box. So what I decided to do in the meantime is run an optical audio cable from my Apple TV directly to the soundbar. There are a few times when, obviously, when I'm gaming with my PS3, that puts me in a pickle. So either A, I just switch cables real quick, or B, what is soon to be on its way, is a different HDMI switch, because this TV only has a single HDMI input. A 5-port HDMI switch that has optical audio out to it. So anything that's connected to my TV HDMI, which is everything that I actually use, because I haven't used that little guy for a very, very long time, will go to my the soundbar whenever I'm viewing at the time. So it fixes my situation. But things like that are things that are creeping up on the internet of what people don't like about this. And I will agree with them. That is the one downside to this soundbar, is the lack of other input scenarios. So all they have to do, in my opinion, is put an auxiliary input on the back, and they would cure everything. Because then you could use it with almost any TV, except for the TVs that don't have any audio outputs. But that said, I love the soundbar. So, is it going to cause me to not purchase it? No, but it will cause me to piss and moan a little bit like I just did there. But I guess in reality, I should probably piss and moan at Sony for not putting in an optical cable that connects to the HDMI connection. So, I guess here or there. Just giving a little insight to my scenario that you may be able to apply to your own, but you can kind of think through, because there's ways to think through it, and there are converters out there. I don't like converters very much. I have a couple other converters that work. They do what they do, but it's not the ideal situation. That's the best part to say. So, let me give you a little bit information on the app and show you a little bit how the setup went. Okay, while I already have everything set up, I can show you how everything kind of went through the setup process. But everything is controlled through the Sonos ecosystem, and they have apps available for almost everything out there. And so I'm going to open the app on my iPad, just because the iPad's easy to show you because it's nice and large and it's mobile. But here's my current Sonos setup. I only have the Playbar currently. It's eventually going to get bigger here. But in my living room, it's going to show you what's obviously available, my TV. I can play stuff from all various sources of media. The thing that obviously would be lacking would be the new iTunes Radio. I don't foresee that coming on here because Apple's going to control the heck out of that. So, that said, you're going to have Pandora, you're going to have iHeartRadio, you're going to have Last.fm, you're going to have TuneIn Radio, you're going to have Spotify. These are just the things that I am currently logged into myself. I don't have a Spotify premium account or whatever, so on this one I don't actually have it logged in here. But you can actually click on More Music and then choose from the various sources. Now, obviously, it's not going to show the sources I've already have listed in there, but there's Mog, there's Amazon Cloud Player, there's Spotify, SiriusXM, Slacker, Stitcher, which I should probably add that in Slacker, but I haven't yet. But these are all sources of audio that you have the ability to connect to directly. The biggest benefit to the Sonos ecosystem over a traditional Bluetooth soundbar, or a soundbar that has Bluetooth, is that when I play, so if I go to Pandora, and I'm only going to play a short snippet of something, and Bob Dylan Radio, so let's hit play now. It's saying, oh, we're going to cancel the TV out, and now it's going to play on my soundbar. So there we are, playing in the background. But at the same time, so if I was to open up my iPad and close out the app, it's not going to cease playing on the Playbar because the Playbar is connecting directly to Pandora. So with that said, the nice thing about the Sonos ecosystem is that the fact that it doesn't use your device to play the content. It uses your device to control the content. So now I can open up the Sonos app back up. And I closed out the, I stopped playing. I told it, oh no, go back to TV. And the TV on the soundbar will always supersede. So as soon as I actually start playing with something on my remote, it'll automatically start playing. So that's the big thing. It has access to all this beautiful content, but it doesn't use your device. It uses your Wi-Fi and it connects directly from the actual system itself. That said, I can also go ahead and do any kind of setup options. So I can actually play around with the controls of my actual soundbar itself. That's going to be down here in the setup tab. In the setup area, I can actually change my room settings. So I can actually assign it to different rooms. So in the living room, I have basically complete control of everything within the soundbar itself. Equalization, I can change the treble, I can change the bass. I can go into advanced audio, TV dialogue. I can actually change the sync settings. So if the lips and the voice, aren't actually matching up, I can alter that and actually play around with it and get it to line up. I can change the room name. Obviously, I'm going to keep it living room because I'm in my living room. TV, or the remote and the repeater setup. So this is where you can actually turn, like the infrared, every time I hit my remote, or like a volume up and down, you can see the little LED blinking right here. You can actually turn that off or turn that on depending whether you want it, all right here in the setup. And that's the IR signal light. You can also turn the IR repeater on and off. I don't need it. I guess I had it on, but I don't need it. So, remote control setup. This is one of those items that you actually set up in the initial setup of the soundbar when they actually go through the initial testing. And that's actually so you can actually use your actual TV's remote with actual TV volume control. That is a huge selling point, in my opinion, to this soundbar, is the ability for it to learn whatever remote you want it to learn. All you do when you do it is you hit the replace remote. It asks you to hit volume up, volume down, and mute. So you obviously need to find those on your remote before you start. But volume up, volume down, and mute. Once you do that, obviously it's registering. The app will tell you, oh yes, I see your remote, you're done. If nothing else, it may ask you to hit 1 or 2 extra buttons to make sure they have the correct remote. But that's all in the setup, and it's really, really easy and very awesome. Bridge settings. If you have a bridge, I don't use the bridge. This would be any setups for your bridge itself. Dock settings. If you had a dock connected to it, I don't have a dock connected to it, so obviously it's going to be blank. Music library. Great thing is if you actually download the app for your PC or your Mac on a desktop or a laptop, you can actually go through the app and say My Music Library, tell it where your music library, tell it what folder it is on your PC or Mac, and it will actually catalog it and have it available. I can show you that here in a moment. And then, of course, services, my services that I'm actually currently logged into versus available services. And this is where you can actually add more as well. Date and time settings, what your time zone is, if you want to set the time from the internet or if you want to do it manually every so often. And then you can change the formats, which you don't really use the date, but it's nice. It obviously is nice for it to know exactly when and where it is, I guess. You can even there's an update. So right now there is a software update. I checked for an update, and there it is. So all you do is click update, and then it'll start doing it. And I'm not going to do that right this moment. Oh, they're actually down here. Online updates available. And then about my Sonos system, this actually tells you all the various technical stuff. So if you actually probably did call Sonos, they're probably going to want this information. Under advanced and usage data, you can actually have it send stuff to Sonos and have them kind of ability to I guess track it and find out what's best and what needs to be fixed or whichever. But that's the settings, and that's basically the exact same stuff that's going to come up when you set up, except for when you do the first initial setup, when you open the app for the very first time, when you're doing the setup of the soundbar, it says, oh, hey, I found a new device. You want to set this up now? And you hit yes, and then it gives you step-by-step instructions on how to actually set it up. And then, like I said, when you're on your computer itself, if you go to my music library, which would be my music library, you can basically sort it by, if I hit artists, there's all my music library by artist on my computer right now. And I can actually play those directly through. I'm not going to because of copyright, blah, blah, blah. But that is, in a sense, how easy it is to use the Sonos Playbar. You can control everything from the Playbar, volume, everything, and it works wonderfully. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit, I guess, of the Playbar itself. So like I said, I don't want to go ahead and play a whole bunch of music or anything like that because that would be against other things, and I don't want to get into that. But I do have a couple home videos I have available here. One of which have some tubing, so we can actually hear what normal sounds would be coming out of here would actually sound like. So this guy has a lot more power than my TV speakers that are actually built into my TV, and it has a lot more volume capability as well. This is like I said, a tubing mix.
So 4-stroke ones like that. That's what they estimate.
I'm not even halfway volumed up yet.
Hold on. Ready? Go.
Oh. You're not going to be able to hear me. But I can drown out about anything. My house, my living room's in the front of my house, kitchen's all the way in the back side of the house. You can't even see anything from the living room from the kitchen. And I could actually play music off this puppy and have it plenty loud in the kitchen area. That's how much power it actually has.
Got it.
But that's the Sonos Playbar. And, I wish I could actually play a whole bunch of music and do all that stuff, but, trying to keep myself clean from any of that stuff, I'm not going to go ahead and do that. But, so that's the one. So that's it. If you have any other information that you'd like to know or any future videos that you'd like to meet, specifically with the Sonos Playbar itself, there's something that I didn't show you and you wanted to know, please, by all means, let me know, and I can post a second video to this as well. But all in all, I love my Sonos Playbar. If you ask anybody that I know, after owning it for as long as I have, I cannot wait to add more to it. Meaning I want a second one. I want the Sonos Play 1 in my kitchen and the Play 3 in my bedroom and the sub next to the Playbar. Like I said before, I do work at a Best Buy. Meaning I have my ear tuned to a lot of the various soundbars in the market. So I know how much bass certain ones have. And all the soundbars that I've listened to, there are several that I think are my favorites. And the Sonos is one of them, actually. And I'm happy to say that if you're looking for a soundbar that has good bass, not pounding bass, but good bass, without having an external subwoofer, this soundbar is definitely one of those soundbars to look at because it has actually really good bass. Has really good music quality. You could definitely tell that Sonos was actually thinking about music when they actually created this. It works fantastic for home theater purposes, and I can only imagine that when I actually do add the Sonos sub to it, it's only going to sound better. So that's my review. My review is a 2 thumbs up. You know the one thing, the little gripe that I have, and that's the only the optical audio input. I wish they had more inputs. But that said, it's not a feature that goes away from me. I love this soundbar. This product is fantastic. It's well built. It works very well, and it sounds awesome. Crisp sound. So I went from clip speaker setup, complete quintet surround sounds, to this guy, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I don't know if I miss the surround sound so much, actually, because the sound that I'm getting out of the soundbar I think is actually of higher quality. I love this product. So with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I kind of hit on everything that everybody would want to see or hear about it. But if you have anything else to add or comment to, please let me know. Like I said, the best part about the Sonos Playbar is its use of all services. It's not just a home theater playbar, it is a music powerhouse as well. And the ability for it to actually play music without you actually dedicating your device to it, meaning it's not eating up your bandwidth, it's not eating up your battery life, because the phone is just a controller for it. That's all it is. It just tells it where to get its content, and it connects directly to it. So with that said, I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Comment below, please subscribe above, and let me know how everything's going. So again, this is the Tech Gooch saying thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.